Hey guys, in this video we're going to be talking about setting up a drag coil. So a coil that you can literally drag behind an ATV or some sort of vehicle. That way you don't have to detect, you can literally just drag across a massive section of area and find some deeper and bigger nuggets. So guys, probably something you might be thinking is, well, why would you want to set one of these drag coils up? Why would you want to go to all the effort of building one of these out, having all of these parts? Well, basically where we are at the moment, we're on one of our leases. We have 400 hectares here to cover. Now, if me and Matt and a couple of friends did that with our detectors, we'd probably take us a whole lifetime. So what we're looking to do is have our drag coil set up. We'll get an ATV. So really the purpose of this trip is just to build it. And then what we want to do is just like basically cover heaps of ground really quickly. Find the pockets of where there is nuggets and gold, and then we can all come back, have a scout around there and do a detect. So that's really the whole point of it at this rate, is just to be able to cover more ground in a less amount of time and find more gold. So here's what we have, everything here to all get set up. This has been a bit of a journey. It's been an idea we've had for a long time, but didn't really know how to put the pieces together. And to be honest, we still don't really. Never done this before. We've never had a friend who had this set up. We've watched a few videos, but we still are kind of just getting what we found and putting bits and pieces together. So basically what we have is a coil, a big coil. We have a detector. We have some pipe and some sheeting. We're gonna make a big frame for it, and we're gonna take you guys on the journey with everything to do that. Let's start with some of the different components. So the first thing that you need to create it, obviously do a drag coil, is the coil itself. So as you guys can see, this is a Coiltek anti-interference coil. On the back side, it is all sort of just straight resin, which is kind of nice. So basically what the plan is, we're gonna stick that on, put some perspex and some rubber sheeting so it can be dragged across the floor, build a frame around it and get that set up. So the coil really is only half the equation, right? So the next thing that we need to have is obviously a detector. Now with these coils, as far as we've been told, you do need to have an analog detector. So the new digital ones like the 2300s, the 6000s, 7000s, apparently, as we're told, don't like this as much. So you got to go back to the analog detectors, which usually comprises of the 2100s or the 3500s. I've been doing a bit of research. What we can see is the 3500 is the weapon of choice for this. So here's the old 3500 detector, if you've never seen one before. It's a pretty standard little unit. Now, obviously what we need to do is take this coil bit off, and this new coil that we have on the floor, the big one that I had up before, will become the coil for this detector. So a bit of backstory on this detector. How did we come across it? Literally, it's an older detector. You can't buy these new anymore. And this is, like I said, an idea we wanted to go with for a while. So we actually just started having a look. We saw one of these come up on for sale on, I think it's Facebook Marketplace or Gumtree or something like that. Yeah, basically he's like, oh yep, you've got to grab it this weekend. So all of a sudden we ended up with a detector. Now we paid $2.5 grand or $2,500. You can get them a little bit cheaper if you wanted to. The reason we got this one, it was in really good nick, and it came with some of the other battery attachments and things that we wanted. So we did pay a little bit of a premium, but really happy with what we got. As the story went, we had to fly down on the weekend, grab it off this old timer prospector, really cool guy. He was able to throw in heaps of other stuff. With the 3500, it has this battery here. It's quite heavy. It'd be well over 1 kilo or 2, I would say. So yeah, carrying that around all day on your belt buckle is going to get tiresome, right? What they did do is they had an aftermarket battery, which you can see here. Here's the carry case, and this is basically it here. So I mean, if you were to compare the two, one's probably 1/4 or one, like way lighter, and super light lithium battery. Just click straight in here, and then you can carry that around all day, right? So basically what happens here is this goes off to the detector, power to the detector, and then you put your headphones in here. Usually you would have Similar sort of headphones that you have on the 7000. You've got the COS Minelab ones, or some variation of that, with the lead that just plugs straight into there, and away you go, right? However, what we're thinking is, because we're probably going to be towing this behind an ATV or some sort of vehicle, and we want to be able to listen to the noise coming from the coil, what we want to do is be able to have that wireless in some way set up for the sound. So what we thought we'd do, again, this is untested, so we'll see how this goes, but you can actually get these, it's called Airfly Bluetooth connection. So if you plug this into here, this goes into here like so. What you have now is you can have this basically Bluetooth connector, and what that will do is you can then send it to your weapon of choice. So we have here some high-end Sony noise cancelling headphones. You could have, you know, Bosch or whatever you want to use. I really like the Sony ones. Into noise cancelling headphones, they're probably the best ones that you can get in terms of noise cancelling. Now, the other option that we want to try out are these type of here. This is a Howard Light one, if I've said that correctly. Basically, what these do is these are basically an ear muff. So like for hearing protection, if you're in a noisy area, you can, you know, obviously put these on and it'll block out the noise. So I'm not sure which one's going to go better. We're also going to probably end up buying a Bluetooth version of this, because this is wired, this particular type of headphone. Kind of do a bit of a test comparison with those, because obviously the thing that you want to have is really clean audio without the background noise, so you can hear the signals, right? So that's sort of the plan there. And that's a little bit about the detector and the coil. Now, when we did buy this, like literally the guy we bought this off has all the other coils for the 3500, so there's a whole bunch of coils now if we did want to use it as a detector. We also ended up with a whole bunch of old detector parts for other analog detectors, the 2100, I think this is 2100 bag, this is 3500, but it came with every lead and every connection you could possibly think imaginable, which we're kind of thinking is going to come in handy for building this out. So let's get to the plan of how we build the actual coil and what we're going to do. There probably is a better way of doing this, right? But this is sort of just what we've come up with. Is it going to be perfect? Probably not. Is it going to work for now? Yeah, and we'll get better as we go. Now you're probably also thinking, like, why are we out here in the bush building this when we could be doing it at home? Well, we were planning to go away this weekend, and this kind of all just happened. The detector came up for sale. We were like, okay, well, let's just build it. And we were just, you know, really busy before we came out. Didn't have time to do it. And we just thought, well, let's just get it done and just build it out there. So that's kind of what we're doing now. So what we're thinking is we're going to put the coil on some perspex. I think this is like 3mm perspex to help it slide, or just give it a bit of stability. Then what we want to do is build this around it. So it'll look something like this, and another pipe, something like this. And we'll cut it all up. And then what we'll do is we'll get some of this rubber matting, and we're actually going to run it underneath, tie it all together with cable ties, so we can drag it across the floor. Now, I mean, we were going to use some conveyor belt, but we couldn't get any in time to come, so we just bought this from Bunnings. Well, you can see it there, it is pretty thick. Okay, so it's 5mm thick, so we're thinking that should be enough just to play around with this weekend. Now we're not going to be dragging it behind an ATV or anything this weekend. We're probably just going to like drag it, like pull it ourselves around an area. What we want to do is, once we build this particular frame, is we want to actually test out how this is going to work. So we have, if you've seen some of our previous videos, we do have some PVC pipes with 1 gram pieces of gold on them. We'll bury them at different depths. We'll drag it along and we'll see what the signal sounds like at each depth, and you'll be able to join that journey with us. So anyway, guys, that's the setup. That's how we're going to build it. So let's get on and build it, get this thing done, and we're going to put some gold at different depths, see what it sounds like, get it all calibrated, play around with the settings. As you can see on the back of this detector, you know, there's no shortage of dials, right? Even on the other side, there's a whole bunch of stuff in here as well. So we've read all the manual. We're gonna have a bit of a play and see how we go. And guys, if you've got any suggestions or better tips or ideas, if this is something you guys have been doing for a while, yeah, let us know in the comments. Like, what are you finding works? What's the best way to do some of this stuff? That way we can share it with other people who want to go on a similar sort of journey. All right, guys, so let's get started on how to get this actually built. So what we have here is some 1 meter lengths of 90mm PVC water pipe that we're going to use. So this is a 1 meter length, which is kind of nice because the size of the coil is 1 meter. So we're actually going to be able to just put that straight over like that. It's perfect size. So we've got some elbows. The next step is going to be pretty much to cut this to size, build the frame. We'll build the frame first, and then we'll probably attach it to the PVC with some cable ties, and then we're going to obviously drill some holes, attach the coil to the plastic as well, and we'll just get this frame built, and then we'll put the rubber matting underneath. So the first step, guys, is really build the frame. Start with your 1 meter lengths either side, like so, and then cut this one to suit, and we'll get the frame built. That's going to be step number 1. Okay guys, as you can see, we now have the pipe frame built, and we also have all the holes drilled. You'll see all the little holes in here. There's the crack that we had to tape up. And what we're going to do is grab these cable ties and pretty much just cable tie all the way along. Hold that all in place before we drill the holes for the coil. All right, let's get into it. All right, so you can see that we've marked out where the coil sits. We've drilled some holes here, so we can put the coil back in and just cable tie that up. All right, so that's what you should be pretty much finished up with before you put the rubber mat underneath. So that's the next step now, is we're going to put the rubber mat on, cable tie that up, and we should be good to go. So after much discussion, we decided what we're going to do is basically, you can see we've drilled these holes here under here. So basically the cable tie will go through the outside of this matting into here, then back up, and we'll cable tie all the front. We've got it as sort of as close as we can sort of feel it on the sides. Once we've got the front on, we'll then come back and drill the sides either side, and we'll tilt it up on the sides and the back for the last bit of the rubber. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're actually just going to cut the back off. There's all different theories. Do we flip it all the way over? What do we do with it? I think what we're going to do is we're just going to leave like 200mm at the back to just let it flow, and then if we want to tie it off at the back later, we can. So that's kind of the plan now. Other than that, we've had to like cable tie the fronts of this up a bit so the dirt didn't get in the side. We'll see how we go. I don't know how tough this material is going to be, this ute liner material. We may have used the wrong type, but you know, we'll give it a go until it wears out, then we can get something else. So we have it all rigged up at the moment. We've got the ropes ready to go, hooked up to here. We're gonna pretty much give it a maiden voyage and a pull. I've got on a harness that we use with one of our detectors, probably tie it to the back. So it does actually move real easy, like just 2 fingers. I can drag that pretty easy. So it's not actually hard to pull along the ground, which I'm kind of relieved about. But I guess the nice thing about this is if you wanted to pull it, you know, without any mechanical devices, and you just wanted to pull it by hand, you could probably do it. I mean, we're gonna rig it up and probably do a bit more of a test. But the next step from here, guys, is to put the detector on it. We'll rig it up with this harness, So if you like this video, guys, please like, share, subscribe. I'm just about to hook it up. You'll see what that looks like. Look at that. That's so easy to pull. Like literally, look. Like no effort at all, eh? So good. Yeah, I could literally do that all day long. Like literally, you can see that that like requires like no effort, right? Like. Nice, let's have a look at the bottom of it, see how the bottom fared. Oh yeah, it's all right. I'll go over that big stick and see what happens. And it's good too, because the stick's kind of pointing at it. Ah, that coiled. Well, that might upset it. No. Oh yeah, you can see it there. But no, that seems to be okay. I'm interested to see after walking around for half a day how this lining went. I think you're really going to need to have like a mining belt or something like that underneath it. Anyway, good test run. We'll see how it goes. It's the next one in the series. We're going to be running you through setting up the detector to the coil. This is a GP 3500, and what we want to do is hook it up to our coil that we have there, which is a 1 meter by ½ meter coil, or what's that, 40 by 20 inches or something like that. What we have at the bottom of this one here, so this particular piece of conduit is 250 mil deep, and at the bottom we have basically 4 grams of minted bar, 99% purity from the Perth Mint. If you want to see a different video where we put these pipes at different depths and run different detectors over them to see how far they go, for example, does the GPZ 7000 go more than the GP6 6000? You'll be able to check that out there. So what we're going to do is we're going to run this drag coil straight over the top of the hole that we've dug over there, and then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put the microphone inside one of the headphones. I mean, usually we have a separate audio out, but in this case we don't have a wireless headphones with us, a wireless setup for this, so we're just going to have to put the mic in it. But you should be able to hear the signal as we go over the coil. Now last night, yesterday afternoon, we did cal it all up, and I walked back and forth up and down this road here probably for about an hour, towing this on my back, and I had it set up with this and a harness, and I was just sort of dragging it with a rope here. Look, it is actually really easy to pull. I probably, after about an hour though, I was definitely ready for a Pepsi and a chocolate. I reckon you could probably do it for about half a day if you had to, and that would just be a normal person. It is very light to pull. Obviously you want to tow it behind some sort of vehicle though. Now in terms of settings, what did we end up with? So we ended up with the threshold about here. I found the threshold was really all about volume in terms of what sort of volume we were going to get out into the detectors. Now I might have these settings wrong. I mean, I'm not an expert on this, this is just what I've found. The signal actually ramped that right up, and the tone. I had to get the tone right so I could hear the differences in the signal. Now on the other side, we have got it set to just in the middle for salt and sensitive, and also shallow and deep. Now on this side here, in the end, we did just end up playing around with the auto setting. We didn't muck around too much with the rest of it. We did do a fixed tracking instead of balance, but the rest of it is all pretty normal, and we just hit the auto and did the auto cal on the front. So that's the settings that we've used. Obviously I did dial that in over about an hour of walking. What we did find though was when you go over big rocks and bumps, you are going to get a bit of a signal. So what we've tried to do here is cal it, so if you go over a rock or a bump, that's fine, but you will without a doubt hear a 250 mil 4 gram nugget. So obviously this is for more finding big nuggets over a big area. You don't want to, I mean, you could set it up to ping sort of your gram nuggets and that at 200 mil, but the problem you're going to have with that is when you go over the rocks, it's going to all sound the same. And that's just from walking around with it for about an hour. So I'm guessing, different type of ground, each time you're going to want to sort of cal it to what you're doing. A nice way to do that though is to have either a nugget at the size that you want to cal it to. So maybe you got a 5 gram nugget or a 10 gram nugget or something, put that down. Or if you didn't have that and you wanted to go to the expense of buying a couple of grams worth of gold and putting it in a tube and burying it, and then having some rocks around. So that way when you cal it, at least you know that it is actually going to be set up to what you're looking for. So anyway guys, without all of that, what I'll do now is I'll just go up and back here. I'll run it over the hole so you can actually hear what it sounds like. If you've got any comments or questions on any of this, look, we are not experts on this detector at all. We've only been playing around with it for a couple of days. If anyone's got any tips or tricks or anything at all, please let us know in the comments below. That would be great. We couldn't really find much information on how to do this, so we're kind of making that up as we go along. So if you've enjoyed the journey guys, please smash the thumbs up, give us a subscribe. You can always unsubscribe later. And what we'll do now is we'll run it over the hole and let's see what it sounds like. So guys, what I'm going to do, I don't know how it will go, but I'm just going to put my Rode mic inside here, and hopefully you'll be able to hear it okay. So as you can see guys, you'll probably hear like little rocks and noises and things. Didn't even hear it. So you might have just heard that little wee-wee. It needs to be noisier, eh? Okay, so what we're gonna do guys is we're gonna run it back over there. I'm gonna let you listen to the signal. I'm gonna run over some rocks first so you can hear what rocks sound like, but it's very distinct now. We did change the settings a little. We did just change the threshold on the back of here. Have a look at that. So that's pretty much where the settings ended up in the end. And now it's giving us a nice clear signal. Okay, so I'm gonna walk over these rocks. Should be able to hear it. So it's not too bad. And then we're gonna walk over the pipe. So you should hear that nice and clear. Go again. So just in summary guys, we did put that up. We just built it. We're not really sure if we've done it correctly. If anyone's done this before or got any comments or questions, please let us know. It seems to be working pretty well. Another pro tip we noticed was if it gets really noisy, when you just turn it on, what you need to do for the ground balance is just push the green button at the top while you're walking along, and it'll tune out all the noise and the crap, and it comes up pretty good. The other thing is I just wanted to check this matting, see how this matting went. You know, we probably walked around for a good couple of hours easy, and you know, rocks and sticks and like anything I could throw at it, and I think it's come up pretty good, eh? I mean, I don't know how it would go behind an ATV. We will let you know in a future video how that goes. Maybe you do want to have a look at some of the conveyor matting or conveyor belt without the metal in it. That could work, but we're going to give that a shot for now. I mean, other than that, it was a process to build. We've got it up and going. Again, if you've got any comments, questions, feedback, please let us know. Other than that, please you know, make sure you like, share, subscribe. It does help out the channel, and you can always change your mind later. So we look forward to seeing you in the next video.